Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the #1 source for the RV GCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RV GCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RV GCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.
Hey, fine folks, this is Freedom Fighter, and we have a very special impromptu call we're going to do. It is May the 21st, 2025. We have an amazing member that just posted in the room his update. As you all are aware, we have plenty of members daily sharing their updates on meeting with bankers, establishing their relationships with these bankers, accounts being set up, brokerage accounts being set up, accounts for their exchange funds to go into, bankers even signing agreements with members to exchange their currencies on their behalf because they are fiduciaries. We have an amazing member, Chuck, who just posted into the room an update. And one second. And he just posted into the room, and I'm going to read his quick update, and then we're going to bring Chuck on so you can hear it directly from him. And so let me do that right now. It is awesome. He posted literally about 10 minutes ago. Good day, family. Just giving you an update. I had my scheduled meeting with the wealth manager from a top private investment firm yesterday, who was my childhood friend's ex-husband. He confirmed I'm not crazy in regard to the GCR, especially the Vietnamese dong, which Vietnam is one of his markets, also Japan, India, Saudi Arabia, South Africa. I'm planning to set up a brokerage account with him, even though I don't meet his criteria for minimum investment. He sees the bigger picture on the back end. Also, planning to meet with one of his colleagues that will give an insight on the process of making the exchange when it occurs. I have a group of friends that hold a lot of currency as well that will be attending. I feel confident that he's the right wealth manager with annual returns of 33.3%, mainly in artificial intelligence. I will keep you posted next week. Now, also regarding Chuck, he is a very spiritual person, and it is no coincidence that everything is aligning for him with this wealth manager. He also posted about some angel numbers and a confirmation that he got this morning that really just set the tone for him yesterday, today, and in his process. So, Chuck, let's get you on here, my good man. If you can unmute.
Hey, good day, Freedom Fighter.
Good day, my good brother. How you feel?
Oh, man, I'm feeling elated, man. Perfect time to celebrate this weekend, man.
Are you on cloud 9, cloud 10, 11, 12, 20?
Oh, man,
20?
I'm on my way. I'm on my way. My life has always been on cloud 9. It's just
That's what I'm talking about.
always been on cloud 9. It's just new levels, man. New levels, man.
Yes. Man, thank you for sharing your update. And folks, this is what we absolutely love, because Chuck is active in the room. He's, of course, very busy, so he's not in every day, but I'm sure he's lurking in the background. But his giving back and sharing is what we would like for as many of you to do. And we're just so appreciative that he is giving us his time to do so this morning. Man, fill us in. I read what you posted, but you give us your words. You got the floor, good man. Go ahead.
Oh man, well, like I said, man, I embarked on this journey back late October, November.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up going to a football game, to the Cowboys Commanders game with a
Oh,
female friend of mine, and
oh.
she brought her sugar daddy. Let's just call him a sugar daddy. And and I'm just, I'm always intrigued by people that have success. And I started
Mm,
asking him questions, and then he was just like, you know what, stop it, stop it, stop it. The best thing you could do right now is invest in currency. And I was just like, okay, that intrigued me. So I was just like,
uh-huh.
so we hung out, we got to talking, and then the next day when we got back in town, he met me at the currency exchange to show me the process and all that. So then I started diving into it, doing my own research, and obviously, my first thing that lands is listen to the gurus and stuff, and then fast forward all that nonsense. I find you Goldilocks room on Telegram, and I'm just like, gave me a piece of sense and understanding. Like I don't have to listen
Mm-hmm.
to 2 hours of nothing when I could get direct
Right,
source information, you know what I'm saying?
right,
And that's
right.
what I like, you know what I mean? And I've just been like doing my research ever since, following Goldilocks since then, and just things has just been revealing itself. Like I said, like I've been seeing angel numbers 222, 555,
Mm,
1111. Whether I'm playing a video game, I'm driving
mm-hmm.
behind a school bus, I let over, it says 111. So
You're,
that
yeah,
just embodied in me that I'm a very spiritual
right,
person. So it's
right,
just like you could never steal my faith. You know what I'm saying? I always feel
right.
like you walk with purpose,
That's
you
right.
start defining your life. You know what I mean? When you walk with purpose.
Absolutely.
So all this, just even back to like meeting this guy that doesn't know me from Adam and Eve, but his mantra, he's a tribal, he's a Cherokee Indian guy. He's all
Mm-hmm.
about paying it forward. He's all about helping
Mm-hmm.
people, feeding the homeless. So it was just meeting him and understanding his energy kind of aligned with mine. And I only be around
Mm-hmm.
people that are on frequency on my level
Right.
to communicate with. And all that just full circle moments is just like
Mm-hmm.
one after the other. And it was just like I try to share with my friends and try to enlighten them, and they're just still not, they still won't, they're still calling me crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Mm-hmm.
have
Mm-hmm.
friends that work for Tier One
But you,
banks that, oh, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. And I was just like,
mm-hmm.
now they done changed the tune as of
See,
yesterday.
oh yeah, I bet. See, and that you are crazy. You
Right.
are listen. You are crazy wealthy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So they're not lying. We all of us who are in this investment who have been called crazy, we're crazy
Right.
wealthy. And
Man,
the
I
people,
like that.
you know what I'm saying? So the people that are calling us crazy, they're going to wish they were crazy.
Right.
But what I enjoy that you're doing is you have a group of people that you are helping, that you're pouring into, and you haven't given up on them. But I do like, what I love more than anything is that you are staying on your post, on your square, and what you need to do to prepare. And God just aligned it to where you met this gentleman at a Cowboys game. I'm not going to talk about the Cowboys, but you met him
Right.
at you met him at a Cowboys game, and he was with a young lady, and you felt intrigued, so you started questioning him, and boom, he just stopped and said, "Stop! You just need to invest in currencies, foreign
Right.
currencies." And I'm like, what? See, this is the first time that you've shared that part
Right.
with us, because you didn't share that in the room, but that is very telling as well, where God put this gentleman, sugar daddy as you call him, and this young lady in your presence, and allowed you to have the presence of mind to start questioning this gentleman. He opened up to you, and then the next day he invited you to a currency exchange
Right.
facility. And was it his exchange center, or
It's CXI, if I'm allowed to speak. Yeah, it's CXI, currency
okay,
exchange. Yeah.
okay, let's not mention names. But
Right.
does he own it? What's his position?
Basically, he doesn't own it. It's FDIC insured
Okay, okay, okay.
facility. Yes.
Okay, no problem, no problem. I was just
Yeah.
trying to figure out his relationship with the exchange
No,
center to
no.
have. Wow, man! And so he invited you to come. It's like he took you on as a protege immediately. The two of you connected. There was a divine connection between the two of you, so strong that he invited you to come the next day to this exchange center so he can educate you.
Correct. And we
Wow.
talk almost every day.
Uh-huh.
We have other business opportunities ahead of us, and a
Uh-huh.
lot of humanitarian work. So
Okay.
yeah,
So
we
now
talk every day.
how did it so tell me so explain to me how it developed to where did you end up going to his private office or did he introduce you to someone else? Is he the person that talked with you about the GCR and the dong and other
No,
currencies?
that's a total separate situation. I met
Oh, okay.
this the childhood friend of mine I've known, forever. Before they got divorced, she tried to align me with
Oh,
him on other investments years ago, and then
that's it. Her
I just
ex-husband.
yeah. So I just been friends with him on
Oh,
social media, and I just been seeing the stuff that he posts about his investments, and it
okay.
just I was like, let me reach out to him to see if he knows what I'm talking about, and then
Okay.
it took about a month and a half for him to get his colleagues to respond, but then he finally
Mhm.
got a response, and then was kind of educated me and just told me I met with him yesterday, and he just walked me through like what he does and what his investments are and how
Okay.
he could assist in
Mhm.
lining me
Got
up
it.
with the to do the exchange.
Got it. So the first gentleman at the Cowboys game really just opened your
Just
eyes, gave you the showed you the light. You took
right,
that, and now
right,
you put the energy into learning, listening. You came across some guru foofiness,
right.
but then being that the spiritual being that you are, you put the energy out to receive the truth. You found Goldilocks, and this particular gentleman who is the ex-husband of a childhood friend. You developed
Correct.
a relationship, met with him yesterday. Boom, got it. Now, if you could share with the world yesterday, paint a picture when you walked in, who did you meet? How did it go? Give us that.
Well, basically, he drove an hour and a half to come meet me at my restaurant. So,
Mm,
and I have a nice fine dine restaurant along with five other partners. And the fact that he came an hour and a half to meet me felt like, like he's about his
mm,
business, and he sees
right.
something. So,
Mm-hmm.
he walked in, he was amazed by by
The
the restaurant.
ambiance. The
Yeah.
ambiance.
Yeah, so because he didn't really know he didn't really he didn't never met me physically, so it was just like, okay.
Right.
So he
Right.
sees that I'm obviously doing something, and I'm in the
Right.
building of the mayor. Like our restaurant is in the same building as the mayor's office, so it's
Okay.
like, knowing that I'm a part of the city and
Mm-hmm.
active and stuff like that. He was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so he just broke me down on what he does and showed me that his his returns, and I was just like, okay, and
Mm-hmm.
his and the number of clients he has and the high volume they do, and
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, okay. So then he basically shot me straight, man, and just told me, man, I'm willing to do whatever you need me to do and take the penalty, even though you don't meet the criteria for my on the initial investment. So, and everything was just like, I just was just in awe, and really just like, because I went to the tier one bank prior to that, meeting
Mm-hmm.
him,
Mm-hmm.
and didn't
Different
really
story.
different story. They shook
Mm-hmm.
my hand and told me, I think we're going to be the best private bank for you, but it just didn't feel like they weren't allowed to say much. Versus
Right.
him, he's not a bank, so he could say what he
He
doesn't
doesn't
care.
as a private bank, as a private wealth manager, for folks listening, the difference between a tier one bank, which is highly regulated, and a private wealth management firm, which is regulated but not as much. Private wealth managers have more leeway to do things and say things that a tier one bank possibly cannot. However, they both serve a great purpose, both very valuable and are necessary through the process. Whereas a private wealth management firm doesn't have the regulations. This gentleman that Chuck met with, obviously at Chuck's restaurant, the conversation would have been different if you would have met with this gentleman, this private wealth manager, in his office at first.
Correct.
But now you've met, your first meeting was on the outside, not inside his office. It reminds me of like Peculiar Ram. I'm not sure if you know who Peculiar Ram is, everyone. So she was speaking to her private wealth manager for months via video calls, 3 or 4 months via video calls. So there was only but a few things that he could say to her on a video call because he's in his office.
Right.
So, and he told Peculiar Ram that he has his wife has foreign currency, but once she met with him in private at a nail salon with his daughters and her daughters, he opened up even more.
Right.
And that reminds me of this meeting that you had with this private wealth manager at your restaurant. When he walked in, he was just amazed at the ambiance and the layout, and he just opened up to you. Now, if you could share with us, I know you mentioned about certain countries that he mentioned to you. If you can share that part.
Yes. So, like I said, when I was speaking of the currency, and then he was speaking about the markets that he trades in, and mentioned India, Vietnam, Japan, South Africa, Saudi Arabia. That kind of enlightened me, like as Trump just came from the Middle East and all that. It was just like
with the tariff negotiations.
Then Japan being to help reforming Vietnam's banking infrastructure. Knowing all that, so it's just like that's why he knows what I'm saying is valid. And then the kicker was when I mentioned Basel III Endgame, I didn't have to say a whole lot. That's all I had to say.
Drop the mic. Drop the mic.
That's all I had to say. And then it was just I just didn't. I mean, I just didn't know what else to say. I mean, I said everything that I was taught, and. It translated to this, and I'm excited. He's like, I have nobody. He's like, he was so excited about the conversation because he's alone a lot of times. If he's not with his children, he doesn't get to speak about this with anybody because most of his portfolio, his clients, they aren't engaged in investing. They just like give him the money and tell him to do whatever. So he enjoys these conversations and encourages me to continue to call him. Come play golf with him, whatever, because he wants to build this working relationship. And I told you he's willing to take penalties just to get me started. And on
let me explain that for people listening. So what Chuck is talking about, folks, penalties with this wealth manager, and Chuck, I'm going to ask you in a little bit what that amount is, that his initial. So what happens, folks, is with wealth managers, and specifically on private wealth side, there's fees that are that they even as a wealth manager have to pay to do investments. Nothing is quote unquote free in the world of banking. So there's a certain amount. What's the amount of his initial investment for clients to even deal with him? Is it 4 million, 5 million?
His is 100,000.
Okay, 100,000. Got it. Okay. So this particular wealth manager, you need to come to the table with 100,000, ladies and gentlemen. However, Chuck is not going that route. So if Chuck were to come to the table and say, "Hey, wealth manager, here's 100,000, here's 500,000, here's $1 million. I would like for you to manage it for me," there would be a fee. So what this particular wealth manager is doing with Chuck, being that Chuck isn't coming to the table with 100,000, the wealth manager is saying, "I'm going to go ahead and proceed with you anyway, Chuck, because you're not coming to the table with 100,000. But what I do know, Chuck, is that you have millions coming to you because you are invested in Vietnam and other countries. And I'm aware as a wealth manager what's going on in the global markets because I participate. I'm going to proceed and do business with you anyway and incur whatever fee, because on the back end, Chuck, I'm going to make my fee from the millions that you're going to manage with me." That's how it works.
Correct. He doesn't make anything until after $250,000. And
until after $250,000. Okay, that makes sense. He knows he's going to get his money on the back end by when you exchange, and then he's going to make his chump change I shouldn't say chump change. It's going to be nice,
Right.
nice penny for him. He's going to make his on the back end. So whereas typically, folks listening, as typically with this particular private wealth management firm, remember, it could be different at different private wealth management firms. It could be different with a tier one bank wealth manager. With this particular wealth manager, private wealth manager that Chuck met with, this is his private wealth manager's criteria. He is saying, forget the criteria. I know what you have. I know what you're doing, Chuck. I'm going to invest your wealth because I'm going to make the money on the back end. Now, if you can continue to elaborate. Now, also, you're setting up a brokerage account with him or with someone else?
With him.
Okay, with him. And
yeah.
Then there's someone else you mentioned that he's going to introduce you to that will exchange your currency for you?
Yes, he didn't clarify who and what, but he just said his colleague that had finally got back in touch with him out of New York that will be much obliged to come down and sit with me and whomever to talk about the process of the currency exchange. So I get the details on that.
But I
But
already know what it is. When you
right,
said that, I already know what it is. And what he's doing, he's aligning your team
right,
for you. He's putting your team in place that the gentleman the private wealth manager that will come from New York sounds like him and whoever else is a part of his team. This is his colleague. Whoever's a
right,
part of his team, they will end up signing a contract with you to facilitate your exchange on your behalf as a fiduciary, which
right.
you would be able to get a more for lack of a better term, but I'm going to say it because it's on my mind. You'll get a sexier rate
That's
than if
exactly
you
what that is.
than someone else who doesn't have that relationship.
Right.
So so you're going to set up a brokerage account with Sugar Daddy, private wealth manager.
Yeah.
Sugar Daddy.
That's
And then
two separate guys.
I know, yep, two separate guys. You're going to set
Yeah.
up that with him, and then
Right.
the wealth manager coming from New York is who you exchange with, and then you have this relationship with the private wealth manager. Man, this is all just lining up
Yes,
for you.
sir. It also intrigued me during the conversation. He told me who his boss was, and he's former CIA. So I was just like, "What is this, like insider trading or something?" 'Cause I found that, you know what I'm saying. I ain't no conspirator, but I'm just saying, it just
Wow,
kind of
that
made me
says
kind of like, okay, you're
that
deep,
that tells me a lot more that I won't elaborate on this call. But him saying his boss is former CIA, that's global trading. They're involved in global trading at the highest level and move the markets. I'll just say it like that.
yeah,
But that tells me that you are connected to someone. This gentleman is someone that is literally at the highest levels of moving currencies around the world by you telling me that. But I won't go further. But I know certain
right,
things that I can't. Yeah. But wow, that's amazing. So I'm just thinking about how this aligned for you. The gentleman at the football game, the Cowboys game, that opened your eyes. Then your childhood friend's ex-husband, which is the private wealth manager, and then you connected with him, which is who you met with yesterday. But before you met with him face to face, and he came an hour and a half to meet you.
yes,
And it sounds like, correct me if I heard you correct, he had already made phone calls to different colleagues and told them about you before even meeting you,
correct,
because you established that relationship.
yes.
Man.
Yeah, man, and I'm like, I just shot my shot. I spoke on what I could speak on, and
Mm-hmm.
then just sharing the articles that you share, and then he was just like I say, he doesn't really talk about this with anybody because he's normally just working for clients, and
Yeah, because his clients, he won't have those discussions because he just has a certain amount that those clients want to receive, whether monthly returns, annual returns, and his job is just to get them their returns.
right, and they were about to sell off the liquidate before China made the deal, and He made them look.
Mm.
He said, "I told you so."
he told his firm that okay, so his firm was looking to liquidate some of their assets prior to this trade deal, to the trade negotiations with China.
Right.
And then they decided, because of his insight, they decided not to sell off their assets, stay in the game, and now they're eating real good.
Right.
And it's only going to get better, because as these trade deals with Trump and these countries with these tariffs, as they continue to develop, especially Vietnam, it is
Right.
going to be sweeter than sweet.
Oh yeah.
So I picked up, you mentioned Basel III, the end game. Folks listening, that is whereby on July 1st, where we essentially move into the gold standard, the gold backing of assets in the banking system, because it's a requirement. This is global, folks, global. Basel III endgame. And Chuck, I really want to commend you, man, because you've been communicating with these folks from a minor state of intelligence, because you've done your research in Goldilocks's room and with
Right.
us in the QFS dialogues room. I commend you, because you could have been like this wealth manager's other clients who aren't really engaged, that they're not at a point where they can communicate with him about what's going on. But you now stick out so well, because you prepared yourself with knowledge and research in the room, and then you took the knowledge, you planted some seeds, as you said, you shot your shot, and boom.
Right.
It was like it was like Steph Curry from the logo.
Oh yeah, especially from the first meeting from the first tier one bank, and what I was mentioning, because I didn't feel comfortable, because I couldn't get past to get to the wealth manager, because I didn't meet the criteria of their 150,000, and I was just like, I'm talking to the vice president of private investment banking, and I'm just like, man, I'm not going to sit here and lie that I'm about to receive money from an inheritance. I just didn't
Mm-hmm.
feel sit right with me, so I had to shoot my
Mm-hmm.
shot and said something about Vietnamese dong, and he kind of looked at me. He thought I was going to say Iraqi dinar, and I just, I even mentioned all this, the same thing I spoke with this wealth manager, and he was intrigued, but he just couldn't say anything. He was just like,
Right,
I
right,
can't
right.
tell you yes or no, but I can tell you what I could do, since you don't have the assets or nothing. But I could, you want to buy a house, I can help you buy a house, and to at least open an account. You know what I'm saying? But that's all that he could say. But then he shook my hand and winked at me and said, "I think we're gonna be the perfect private bank for you." And I'm just like, "What? Like, I
I
don't even meet
think
your criteria." You know what I'm saying? But
See, because he knows that you will meet the criteria, but at the moment you don't, so he can't. And also, you didn't have the relationship with him at
right,
that moment well enough, because
right,
other folks, for example, similar members that had those discussions with wealth managers at the tier one banks, but maybe the wealth manager at the tier one bank walked up to them at their car and said it
right,
to them, or
right,
as they were walking out. So, and it would all depend on the comfort level and the relationship that you've had at the tier one bank with that particular wealth manager, because plenty of them opened up to our members. Nonetheless, you didn't tuck your tail, you didn't fold, you didn't cry, you
right,
said, I know I'm on the right track. You were able to connect to this private wealth manager, which is the ex-husband of your childhood friend. Then
right,
boom, the rest was
right.
history.
Also, during that first meeting in the tier one bank, when I had mentioned who I was meeting with, they kind of took a step back. I was like, oh, you know what I'm saying? So it's just always like,
What do you mean when you
wow,
told them that you were meeting with the private wealth manager?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay, yeah, because they know that when you go to a private wealth manager, that there will be things that there's the possibilities greater that they, private wealth management firm, can discuss things with you openly if they so choose, based on your relationship, that particular tier one bank probably they weren't comfortable with just yet.
right. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
man. So yeah, man, it's happening, as I believe,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I can't wait to do a lot of great work.
So so give me a refresher. If you can give the people listening, if you can give them a quick summary of how the Vietnamese dong and all these other currencies came up in this meeting with this private wealth manager yesterday. If you can do that real quick, kind of summarize that for us.
Basically, leading up, he already knew that I was communicating with him about currencies,
Mm-hmm.
and then basically the meeting was just a face-to-face meeting, just to understand what he does and what his background is and what he could do for me. Then I just explained to him that how much, not a fixed amount, but let him know I have a lot of it. Currencies
Mm-hmm.
that I hold, and he opened up and told me what markets he trades in, and the ones I've mentioned, like I said, Vietnam, Japan, India, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, and he was basically telling me how he could be of help, and
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
basically that's it. I mean,
And then
he
so
felt
much
comfortable
so
to introduce me to his colleagues. So now
that's yes, that's what I was just getting ready to go to. So he now that see, because you obviously established a relationship with him over the phone for quite some time.
right,
So he knew ahead of time that you had currencies, right or wrong.
correct, through via text. I didn't really get in too much dialogue because I don't like to talk about something that
Excellent.
you know what I mean. So I
Excellent.
just short, keep it, and
Got it.
then he
Short and
wanted the
sweet.
meeting. Yeah,
Got it. So it was enough for him to know, okay, that you are invested in markets where he, as a trader, invests as a private wealth manager. So now meeting you face to face, he wanted to really solidify the relationship and make sure that the two of you can work together. So then he opened up to then let you know that there's certain markets like Vietnam, South Africa, India, Saudi Arabia, and others that he invests in, so much so that you establish such an even better relationship in person that he's willing to introduce you to his colleagues, even a particular colleague, wealth manager out of New York, who can exchange your currency for you.
correct.
Man.
He was like, "You're more reason for me to drive an hour and a half again." I was just like,
Mm.
he wants to hang out and all that.
Now he wants to play golf. He wants to invite you
Yeah.
to other things.
Yes. Yes.
Beautiful. I commend you, my good man, because you did exactly what is supposed to be done. Establish your relationship. Also, before I forget, you said something. I'm so glad you said it. You didn't want to say inheritance. Folks listening to this, saying inheritance has gone viral because Freedom Fighter believes that it is a spiritual inheritance of receiving this blessing. But Freedom Fighter has the ability to communicate and articulate himself in a way that meeting with wealth managers is second nature because of Freedom Fighter's experience in the international banking world. People have taken inheritance and just think it as a buzzword, and they've fallen flat because they don't have the knowledge and education of being in Goldilocks' room to be able to articulate themselves. However, Chuck, on the other hand, he submerged himself into learning, following Goldilocks, reading the articles, coming into the QFS dialogues room, learning from Wiley, learning from the tribe, understanding what Goldilocks is putting out, to where he didn't have to mention the buzzword inheritance, because that's not what it is. It's not a buzzword. Because people can say inheritance and then the wealth manager asks a question and they don't even know how to respond.
Correct.
See, Chuck didn't put himself in that situation. He didn't think of, oh, let me say a buzzword. He said, no, that's not what it is for me as Chuck. So I'm going to just shoot my shot. And he did. But you shot your shot by already establishing your relationship.
Right.
Your relationship was already there. It was like, and I think of this, it's like someone going on an online app, a dating app. and they're communicating via this dating app, texting back and forth, building a rapport and building a relationship. Then they meet in person for the first time, and it's like love at first sight. That's what it was like with you and this wealth manager. Y'all texting back and forth on, you didn't meet in person, and then he drove an hour and a half, and it was love at first sight.
For sure. For sure. Oh man. Oh my goodness, man.
Congratulations.
Exactly what I needed.
Congratulations, man. We are so proud of you. So proud of you. You educated yourself.
Thank you and your team. Yes.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And we are looking forward to the further developments that you're going to have. What's next? What's next with you in this?
He said to give him about a week or two time. He's going to contact his colleague and try to arrange him to come down to meet.
From New York. From New York.
So I can coordinate with my friends, and and my friends got way more than I got, so they're going to be even more pleased.
Yeah. Wow. That reminds me, I don't remember who it was. It slips my mind. If someone knows, refresh my memory, that's on the call, where they established a strong relationship with the private wealth manager, and the private wealth manager asked them if they had colleagues, friends that are also invested in currency to introduce them to. I don't know if it was Ty Too Pretty or who it was, but someone else. So this sounds like this is what this private wealth manager is asking you, is if you have other colleagues that have currency, they want to meet them as well. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I'd use it as leverage to see if I could get a higher rate by bringing.
Oh man, you are. Well, see, I knew you was just more than a pretty face. You smart. You smart. I love that.
Oh yeah, like I said, my guys they're well businessmen, so they hold a lot more currency than me. I'm just
right. Yeah. I love it. Okay. Excellent. All right. So, now did you serve him any food at your restaurant?
Oh yeah, we're top tier. My chef / business partner he wins a lot of awards. We're our restaurants thriving. The city giving us tax breaks. So that's
oh man, I love it. I love it. So you fed this wealth manager real good.
Real good.
Now, and now I don't want you to give me location. Are you in the Northeast?
I'm Middle East. That's
Middle East.
Literally the Middle East.
Oh, I think I remember. Okay, you're in the Middle East, or you're in the Midwest?
Middle East.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, got it.
The North and the South, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, seafood.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay. Yeah. Man, beautiful. Congratulations, my good brother. Man, we're so proud of you. You got this amazing relationship that you established, and so much so that you got confirmation on certain currencies that this particular wealth manager invests in, and he was willing to surpass any of the fees that he would typically pass on to his clients for moving forward with him. He's going to pass those fees on to get it on the back end to proceed and do business with you and manage your wealth, and at the same time introduce you to a colleague who will come down as a private wealth manager from New York, who can exchange your currency on your behalf. You guys will set agreements, and then you're going to introduce them to other colleagues that you have that have currencies as well. And it sounds like, man, this is the beginning of an amazing opportunity relationship with you and these folks. Congratulations, man. And I love the fact that you, again, I'm intentionally mentioning this again for others to learn from Chuck. Chuck took it upon himself to learn from the Goldilocks articles, coming into the room, learning from the tribe, learning from the engagement with that Wiley puts into the room and the tribe, myself. You learned about Basel III, and you just put these certain buzzwords, which are real buzzwords, but you put your knowledge behind things so that you were able to speak intelligently to the point where this wealth manager, private wealth manager, drove an hour and a half to meet with you, wants to drive back again to meet with you, wants to golf with you. And also that private wealth manager can't have certain discussions with his clients because they don't educate themselves the way you have. To now you, Chuck, although he has those clients in his portfolio that he's had for so long, you just went to the front of the line as what I call a client protege relationship.
Exactly that. Exactly what he
He's
said.
That's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He is going to show you things. He is going to put you into investment areas to further grow your wealth after you exchange that he would never do with his existing clients.
Correct. I'm so excited because I was always wondering how do I get to the international markets, and that's my roadmap right here. So I'm just
The
like,
the angels have aligned it all for you. Everything you have desired, your deepest desires for not just this wealth, but life
right,
and your existence and your legacy now has been presented to you in the presence of this particular wealth manager and the relationships that you've established and the colleagues, and going back to the sugar daddy that you met
yeah,
at the Cowboy game to tell
yeah,
you to get into currencies last
yeah,
year. That was last fall, I think you said it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
So the everything has been aligned. I'm so happy that you are paying attention to the angel numbers. You're paying attention to the messages through those numbers that the angels are giving you. And now the angels are presenting angels before you so that you can be an angel to someone else.
Exactly that.
Congratulations. Anything else you want to share? Would you like to share with anyone listening before we before
I'm
we?
really just short and sweet, man. Like I've manifested everything that's happened to me in my life, and I've
Mm-hmm,
been through a lot. I'm not gonna give you the whole spiel, but
mm-hmm.
one day I'm gonna give my testimony.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be able to change lives. But
Well, beautiful. Well, maybe on one of the Saturday calls, I know you're out for the next 2 weekends. Maybe you can come on and share your story. Because you'll have some more updates by that time anyway.
right,
In a couple of weeks out, maybe you can do that because your testimony will be an inspiration. Your testimony and your story with these wealth managers and these bankers preparing for your exchange will be an inspiration to people around the world.
right. And well, I'll leave you with this. What somebody told me: bet on yourself, invest in yourself.
There you
So
go. There you go. I just have one last question for you before we go. On your dessert menu, do you have cheesecake at your restaurant?
we have cheesecake, cream brulee, banana bread pudding, like with.
All right. All right. I'll be in your DM and get the address. I'm on my way.
All right.
All right, beloved man. We appreciate you. Thank you. We love you. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. This is a great call. Thank you so much for sharing, beloved.
All right. Thank you for your time.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.
Hello, beautiful people. This is Freedom Fighter. Thank you for tuning into our channel, Goldilocks Global Banking News. Everybody knows that Goldilocks is the number one source for the RV GCR. People from around the world tune in to see what Goldilocks is sharing on the RV GCR. Don't miss your chance and get your latest updates every day. So like, share, and subscribe to this channel to get your daily podcast from the Goldilocks articles on the RV GCR. Brought to you by Freedom Fighter.